On the third day, Esther put on her royal robe, standing in the inner court of the palace. Facing the entrance, the king noticed her, sitting on the throne within the royal house. When the king saw the queen standing in the court, she found favor in his sight as he held out his scepter. Esther went near and touched its top. The king said, "What is your request, Queen Esther?" "If it please the king, let Haman come today to the banquet that I have prepared for the man." The king replied, "Bring Haman in quickly." So they went to the meal that Esther planned. At the banquet of wine, the king said to Esther, "Name your request, it shall be granted." "What do you ask? Up to the half of the kingdom it shall be done." Then Esther answered, "My petition and request is this. If I found favor in the sight of the king, come tomorrow to another banquet that I'll prepare. Tomorrow I'll do as the king has said." Haman went out that day. He was joyful. A gladness was in his heart. But when he saw Mordecai in the king's gate, filled with hatred, it tore him apart. Haman restrained himself and went home, calling his friends and his wife Zeresh, telling them he was promoted in advance, telling them of his great riches. He said, "The queen invited only me to come in with the king to the feast. Tomorrow I'm invited to eat with the king. It means nothing until Mordecai's deceased." His wife and friends spoke and said, "Let a gallows be built, 50 cubits high." The thing pleased Haman, so he had the gallows made, and that will be the end of this Mordecai. The king couldn't sleep that night, so the history of his reign was brought to him. It was found that 2 eunuchs would bring harm to the king, and Mordecai discovered the issue. The king said, "What honor has come to this man?" The king's servant said, "Nothing has been done for him." So the servant said, "Who was in the court just now?" Now Haman just happened to enter the outer room. Haman just entered the court of the palace to suggest that the king hang Mordecai. The servant said, "Haman is standing in the court," and the king said, "Let him come near, let him come nigh." Haman came in and was asked by the king, "What shall be done for the man the king honors?" Haman deceitfully thought in his heart, "Who would the king delight to honor more than me?" Haman said, "To whom the king would honor, let a robe be brought that the king has worn, a horse on which the king has ridden, and a royal crest placed upon his head. Then let this robe and the horse be delivered to the hand of the king's rising prince. Parade him on horseback through the city square and say, 'This shall be done to the one the king delights.'" The king said to Haman, "Hurry, take the robe and the horse as you have suggested. Do so for Mordecai who sits within the gate. Leave nothing undone of all you've spoken." Haman took the robe and arrayed Mordecai, led him on horseback through the city square. He proclaimed before him, "Thus it shall be done to the man whom the king would declare." Mordecai went back to the king's gate. Haman hurried home with his head covered. When Haman told his wife all that had happened, the wise men and his wife and Zeresh said, "If Mordecai, before whom you have begun to fall, is of Jewish descent, you will not prevail." While they were talking, the king's eunuchs came, brought Haman to the banquet Esther prepared.